All right, we are going to go ahead and get started. Again, if you guys have just come in the last couple of minutes, my name's Annabelle Spencer. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm the graduate assistant for family programs. And so we're just going to kick it off. But before we start diving into these questions, I'll have the person that I ask introduce themselves, their name, their pronouns, and what they do. And then I will ask them the first question, and we'll just go through until we get through all of the pre-written questions. And then, like I pointed out earlier, the Q&A function will be live throughout this entire meeting. Feel free to type in any questions. Don't feel bad if it gets answered after you put it in. That at the end, after we go through all of our written questions, anything that's left in the Q&A that we think would be really good to answer live or that we haven't quite covered, we'll bring those up and let these esteemed panelists give you the information that you need. So we're going to start with the Learning Services Department. Vicki, would you introduce yourself, your name, pronouns, and what you do here at Mason?
Hi, everybody. My name is Vicki Dominic. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm the Associate Director in Learning Services. And what we do in Learning Services is help students with metacognition and self-regulation, which is just a fancy way of saying that we help students with study strategies and things like time management and overcoming procrastination.
Perfect. Nice to have you here. We're so excited. Your first question for the night is, what services are available for my student if they are struggling academically, either in an in-person class or a virtual one? And will my student have to pay for these?
That's a great question. So one of the services that we provide is individual academic coaching. And you're going to hear about student success coaching in a couple minutes, but it's slightly different. So with academic coaching, we're really focused on helping the student achieve whatever their academic goals are. We talk with them about their current study strategies. We help them develop a study plan, and then we meet with them for a few sessions. It's usually 3 to 4 sessions, once a week for 45 minutes to make sure that the student is on track. So that's called academic coaching. It is free. It does not cost any additional money. You've already paid for this in your tuition and fees. We offer also to let you know that we provide academic coaching both in person and virtually. So it's available in both formats.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. It's such a good resource that everyone should be taking advantage of, regardless of what year you are, if you're new, you're old, all the things. That's really good to hear. Our next question, we're going to switch departments. We're going to go to the Office of Disability Services with Lisa. Lisa, would you introduce yourself, your pronouns, and what you do here at Mason?
Sure. My name is Lisa Coates. I'm she, her, hers pronouns. I am the Senior Access Consultant at Disability Services. So I wear many hats, including doing things like presentations and outreach to our campus partners, both current and prospective, as well as connecting with students about ensuring access to accommodations in a variety of ways. One of the other things that we do is we don't strictly just do accommodations. We might refer to students to campus support services, such as some of the things that Vicki has mentioned, or even TJ's team, to point them, get them connected with the appropriate resources and kind of make a plan to support their concerns and barriers.
Awesome. So happy to have you here. Your question, your first one, is kind of a 3-part question. So the first part is, what accommodations are available for students?
Yeah, so we do not have an exhaustive list of accommodations for students. Everybody's disability impacts them differently and individually, and we want to honor that. So we are here to support students in general areas around campus, whether that be campus support services, in the academic setting, or maybe it's in the housing setting or even the meal plan setting. So within those, we have some variety of supports. Again, nothing is guaranteed to every student, but nothing is kind of a blanket accommodation for even the same diagnosis. So we have an individualized accommodation to determine appropriate supports within those general areas of campus life. We do also provide supports for accommodations through things like sorority recruitment and such social pieces of campus as well.
Okay, that's great to hear. The second part to that is, how can a student request those accommodations?
Yeah, so this is outlined on our website. It's a multiple step process. So I'm just going to refer you guys there. I'll do a quick overview, but really encourage families with students who are wanting to get connected to check that out. But basically, we ask for some documentation from a medical professional, that a relevant treating medical professional that speaks to the students' barriers that they experience as related to their disability. Then the students need to interact with us through what we call an interactive process, and that is a conversation, largely a conversation around how can we work together, what supports have you accessed in the past, what barriers have you experienced in the past, if you've had accommodations before, what's been helpful, what hasn't been helpful, and then from there, if we connect a student with campus resources, it is up to them to kind of move forward with communicating with them and accessing those, and continue to work with us if and when additional questions or concerns arise. We are not a one-time stop. If a student needs us more than once, we can certainly revisit things and work through additional questions and concerns. Students can register with our office at any point in their academic career, but nothing is retroactive. So once they've accepted admissions to university and have attended orientation, we certainly welcome to establish specific accommodations. And yes, I have had students register with us a few weeks before graduation for a variety of things. So students can start that process at any point in their academic career.
Okay, great. That's awesome to know. You touched on this third part a little bit. What if your student has never had accommodations before, but they think they might need them now?
Absolutely. We don't just serve students who have previously had accommodations. So we definitely say reach out to disability services, let us know your questions, your concerns, and how we can work together will be something that we develop further through conversation. We do not have a time limit on documentation, right? It doesn't have to be within the past 3 years, past 5 years, those kind of things. So maybe a student accessed accommodations 16 years ago, but it isn't doing it now. We'd ask them to get connected with our office and we can revisit that experience and figure out how we can work together moving forward.
Perfect. Thank you so much. We're going to switch departments again to our third department with student success. So TJ, would you introduce yourself, your pronouns, and what you do here at Mason?
Sure. Good evening, everyone. My name is TJ Pegg. I serve with one of the assistant directors in student success coaching, overseeing our strategic development and engagement. And I specifically work with our Patriot Experience program within the student success coaching office. And I'll also use he, him pronouns. And I'll turn it over to one of our senior success coaches, Nikki, to introduce herself.
Hi, everyone. My name is Nikki Harris. I use she, her pronouns, and I am a senior success coach here at Mason with student success coaching.
So nice to have you both on here. So I'm just going to ask these questions, and if one of you wants to answer them, or if you both have something to offer, that's totally fine. Just jump in wherever you want to. Your first question for tonight is, what is student success coaching? I know we talked to Vicky earlier about academic coaching, but we know that this is different. So how is this different, and what is student success coaching?
I can hop in. So success coaching is really about supporting the student holistically. We have about 9 focus areas that we discuss with students that serve as kind of our framework in working with students. And so those 9 areas include academics, finance, well-being, managing commitments, effectiveness, school community, career, commitment to graduation, maybe missing one, but those are the areas that we tend to focus on with students. And so really it's very individualized to each student. And so a student can come in with lots of questions, or a student can come in with no questions. And as success coaches, we're meant to be their mentor and their guide for their Mason experience. And every student at Mason has access to a success coach, and their success coach will stay with them all 4 years here at Mason.
That's perfect. Thank you so much. That's such a good resource to complement the academic coaching, but it's nice to get that specific definition so we know what's different and why they're both awesome and totally needed. We're going back around the rotation. So back to Vicky in learning services. Your second question is there a content specific tutoring available on campus for students?
Yeah, so tutoring at Mason is determined by each academic department, and it's configured in different ways, and they call them different things. So yes, there is, but not necessarily for every subject on campus. Learning Services maintains a list of tutoring resources that we're aware of. And there was a question in the Q&A about economics tutoring. And so there's a link specifically to the information about economics tutoring on our webpage. And then there's some general tutoring like the Writing Center, which serves all students at Mason. The Communication Center, students who are taking a communications class or doing public speaking. So not every department offers it. Or they have things that are more general, like the College of Science offers learning assistants, and learning assistants are embedded in specific classes. And they also provide review sessions and provide individual tutoring for students. So there's a variety of ways that this is put together. So check out our webpage, and if there's not a content tutor for a class, then I recommend that people make an appointment for academic coaching, because like, I don't have to be an engineering major to help a student improve their performance in engineering or finance or art history, whatever it is, because I'm teaching people how to learn. So don't despair if there's not a content tutor. I would just suggest the student comes in and speaks with one of the staff in learning services.
Perfect. Thank you so much for that. We are going to go back to ODS, Office of Disability Services. Lisa, your second question is, how does my student go about getting diagnosed with something like ADD, ADHD, anxiety, or ASD?
Absolutely. So the best place to start is going to be with your medical professional or your family's medical professionals. They might be able to take care of some of the testing there. If not, they can certainly give you some options within the community around you to connect with. A couple of things to keep in mind when talking to one of those evaluators, depending on what type of diagnosis support you are looking for. You might need something called a neuropsych evaluation or a psychoeducational evaluation. These tend to be a little bit longer. They do also tend to be pretty pricey. So something to consider when talking with evaluators is, do they work on a sliding fee scale? This is absolutely a question that the admin team of these offices are accustomed to hearing, and they can share that information with you directly. If your medical provider doesn't have any relevant information for you or relevant referrals for you, you can absolutely always check out our website. Also has a referrals page for you with places within our area in the Mason community. We do also understand people are from out of state, and so it might be a little bit different. But that's something to consider as a starting point, is either your medical professional or even checking out the list that we have on our website.
That's so awesome. Thank you. Especially the referrals list for on-campus students or in-state people. That I'm sure that's really helpful. Back to student success. TJ and Nikki, the next question for you all is, who is success coaching for? Is it only for students who are struggling with transition or academics, or is it kind of for everybody?
Yeah, this is a great question. So it is open to all Mason students. All Mason students have access to a success coach. Our predominant outreach is to first year and transfer students. So the first year and transfer students will get communication intentionally when they start at Mason about who their success coach is. They'll usually get an email with a welcome video sharing a little bit about our office, introducing who their success coach is. And that's where they really start to build the relationship with our office so that they have that success coaching journey while they're here at Mason. But students can access us at any point. As Nikki mentioned earlier, success coaching is available at any point during a Mason's career, and they'll have that success coach access with them the entire time that they're here. So we encourage students to utilize us when they need to connect with us and to build that relationship with their success coach.
Thank you for that. That's such good information to know. I know a lot of people feel like with that stuff, they miss the boat and then they don't have a coach and all that stuff. So it's good to know. Back to you, Vicky. We have your third and final pre-written question. What are academic success workshops?
Yeah, so there's a number of topics that a lot of students benefit from learning more about. And so Learning Services has about 15 different workshops that we offer throughout the fall, spring, and summer semesters on a variety of topics, things like note-taking strategies and reading strategies, exam strategies, as well as things like motivation and goal setting, improving concentration. So the workshops are offered throughout this semester. We usually have about 2 or 3 per week each week. Most of them right now are still virtual. Students really enjoy that option, but we do have a few that are presented in person, and students can register for the workshops on Mason 360 by just looking for our group Learning Services. They can register. Again, it's free of charge. It does not cost any additional money for students to participate in those workshops. Plus, if there's a workshop a student is interested in, they can make an appointment for an individual academic coaching appointment and just say like, hey, I really want to learn more about group project strategies because I've got a group project coming up. So they don't have to wait for a workshop to get help in those areas.
Thank you so much for that. That seems really awesome. A great resource for everybody. Okay, Lisa, your last question, pre-written is there a forum where students can voice accessibility concerns? So things such as like bathroom accessibility or ramps around campus or something where they feel like their needs aren't being met. Who can they tell that to? What can they do about it?
Absolutely. We as Disability Services want to hear about concerns, so please don't hesitate. Best bet is going to be to email our team directly, just at ods.gmu.edu. And that will come to our front office team, who will share it with the specialists that work in our office, and then we'll be able to do appropriate follow-up from there, points of contacts, connecting with campus partners to make things appropriately accessible and those kind of things as well. And that again goes year round, whether it be for somebody attending a summer camp or somebody who is a freshman or even somebody who's a senior that is experiencing barriers. So we do remain available for that, and emailing us directly is going to be the best bet for that.
That's so good to know, especially with campus programming and things. A lot of people move through Mason. So I'm sure if somebody has something to share, it's good to know that you all are listening and you want to hear those kinds of things. Moving back to student success. So I have a couple of questions to finish you guys off with our pre-written ones. The first one is, who can I reach out to if I'm worried about my student?
So if you're worried about your student and would like them to connect with Success Coaching, we do have a referral form on our website that parents and family members can complete, and a success coach will reach out to the student directly within 24 to 48 business hours.
That's so awesome. And you can do it, it's on your website, so you could do it from anywhere. That's really good to know. We have one more question for you all before we go into the live Q&A. But before we do that, we have a poll going live just for this this meeting. And so every participant in here, it's just popped up on your screen. Should take you just a few seconds. Answer honestly. We want to make these sessions, these family support series, as helpful and as effective for you all. And we want to give you the information that you want to hear. So answer honestly, answer quickly. We'll get through this last pre-written question, and then we'll move on to the live Q&A part. Awesome. Thank you guys so much. If you're still finishing up, don't feel rushed. I'm just going to go ahead and ask this last pre-written student success coach question. And it is, what is the Patriot Experience program and why should my student get involved in it?
Yeah, thank you for that question, Annabelle. Great question. So Patriot Experience is an engagement program that is housed within the Student Success Coaching Office that encourages and incentivizes students for getting involved and making best use of the resources that they have access to at Mason. So we have 3 core tracks of global citizenship, career readiness, and well-being. And through those tracks, we have a number of activities that we encourage students to participate in to really help design their own Mason experience and ensure that they're utilizing and have access to the resources that are going to support their journey at Mason and beyond. We have a number of events that happen across campus. We work with a number of offices and academic colleges to ensure that students know what's happening on campus and know that resources are available for them at any point during their Mason journey. And so when we talk to students about the Patriot Experience program, usually they're first getting exposed to it during the first year, where we have our first year challenge, like 15 items in 15 weeks. And then throughout the rest of their time at Mason, they're looking at the opportunities that best connect with where they are as a student at that point. We also have a transfer track within the Patriot Experience program that specifically is designed for transfer students that are incoming to Mason. And so in the first semester, we encourage transfer students that are coming into Mason to complete the transfer track. That'll help establish that connection to Mason and connection to the resources that are available specifically for transfer students. And they have an opportunity to share their voice in our program through connecting with our Patriot Experience program through social media, as well as opportunities to join our Patriot Experience Advisory Board.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that information. I feel like you either know everything about the Patriot Experience or you don't know. And so I think this is a really good opportunity to spread the word. We're going to go ahead and jump into our Q&A section. So if you guys have any more questions you want to pop in there while we're going through them, feel free. Some of them have been answered already, or some of them have been type answered, but we're just going to go down the list. So first we have, what happens, and feel free, panelists, whoever knows the answer to this, just hop in. But what happens if a student is placed on academic probation? Are the parents notified, and what happens next?
So I can take a stab at answering this, and then anyone else who would like to hop in, please do so. So academic probation and those respective processes are unique to each academic college. There are standards that academic majors have, and their advisors will go over that information with students and talk about what it looks like when they're at different academic standings. But student or parents will not be notified if a student is on academic probation. We do take very kind to heart the FERPA policies. If a student is 18 years of age or older, we cannot disclose information such of that nature. So that is as much as I know. But if anyone else would like to jump in, that would be awesome.
I'll also say typically students who are on academic probation are limited to 13 credits. And so like TJ mentioned, it is very specific to the department and the college, but typically students are encouraged to work with their academic advisors to really kind of understand what happened and what they can do to improve in their classes to bring up their GPA and get off of probation.
Thank you guys so much. I know that's not your exact area that you work in all the time, but it's nice that you have some kind of tangential knowledge just from working with a lot of students. Similarly, I don't know if this is going to be the same answer, but what happens if a student flunks a course or they don't pass? Is that what leads to like an academic probation, or is there an opportunity for them to retake it, that kind of thing?
I can.
So go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, typically the repeat policy is dependent upon the course. Most classes have a three attempt rule, so a student can take the class up to 3 times, but some classes, specifically within business and engineering, they're limited to 2 attempts. So it does depend upon the student's major. And so if a student is worried about flunking a course, definitely have them connect with their academic advisor. So if that's the case, they understand the repeat policy rule and they can kind of prepare for that scenario.
Perfect. Do we have anything else to add to that one?
I was just going to add, and I know this may be an obvious point, but if a student does go for another attempt at a course, they do have to pay for that course again. And so I think that's something that's always important to point out, even though it might be insinuated with the tuition fee structure.
No, that is a good point. Thank you, TJ.
Can I add one more thing to that?
Yes, go for it.
If a student is able to repeat a class, the most recent grade is the one that is counted in their cumulative GPA. That's very important. Other universities, it's the average or it's the highest one. It is not the highest grade. It is the most recent grade. So I really discourage students who got a C, like a passing grade, and they're like, I'm going to take the class again to get an A. If you don't get a better grade, then it really is going to, whatever the most recent one is the one that's going to be counted in their cumulative. So I highly discourage them from repeating classes that they don't need to repeat.
That's really good information. Thank you, Vicki. This one is kind of more geared toward you. I know you said that content specific tutoring is very much based on the department, and you guys have a list of tutoring services that you know of on campus. But do you know if by and large on campus there's a fee for content tutoring?
So the tutoring that I have listed that is Mason specific, all of it is free with the exception of the foreign languages tutoring. The tutors that are listed there are people who have been screened by the faculty as being competent to tutor in that particular language. And so they've been approved by the department. However, the student would need to make arrangements for payment with that private tutor. We also have a list of like tutor matching services for like tutor.com and Wyzant. Those are private tutors as well. That's listed as a convenience, but that's not provided by Mason. Everything provided by Mason other than the foreign languages is all free of charge.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. I'm not sure which of y'all will know the answer to this one, but this is kind of asking about the evaluation of professors. Is there some sort of survey at the end of the course where students can provide feedback on like their teaching style or what they liked and what they didn't like to improve faculty and like student relationships? Like, how does Mason evaluate effectiveness of professors?
So a couple of us are adjunct faculty or have taught courses here at Mason. There is a course evaluation that happens right around after the midpoint of the course before the finals start, where students can take a course evaluation of their faculty member. But I would highly encourage that students who have any issues or concerns with faculty members speak up quickly. So sooner is the better with any faculty issues, especially connecting with that faculty member directly if there's any miscommunication, or going to the respective academic department offices or academic colleges to report any concerns. That way that things can get resolved sooner rather than later, and it doesn't impact the student when it comes to the end of the course.
That makes a lot of sense. Thank you, TJ. We've kind of gone over, I'm looking at the list. We've gone over our virtual tutoring offerings. This question, so can someone retake a course at Nova Community College and transfer? I'm not sure if that means transfer the credit or transfer as a student. But does anyone have any insight on retaking at Nova and then being a Mason student?
Yeah, so my guess is the person is asking, like, if I didn't pass a class here at Mason, can I go to Northern Virginia Community College and take that class there and transfer that over? Unfortunately, no. Now, you can always talk to your academic advisor. Like, I'm just kind of giving general advice. Definitely talk to an academic advisor, but a student needs permission to study at other institutions, okay? So that's the first thing. You need permission to study elsewhere. And if you've attempted the class here at Mason, they want you to retake the class here at Mason. They generally don't allow you to take it at another school. Now, there might be extenuating circumstances. That's why you need to talk to your academic advisor.
That makes sense. Thank you for that. Our last question, it looks like, unless anybody throws something else in there, is it says, I believe that if a student gets a passing grade in a prerequisite, but doesn't attain the grade needed to move to the next class, they can take that class over to try and get that grade. Is that correct?
Yes. So like English 101, I think you need to have, I think it's a C+ or better. Is that right, TJ and Nikki? So
Yeah, it is, but I think the repeat policy would still be the same. So a student is welcome to retake the class potentially as long as they're within the repeat policy window. So if they're ever worried about they passed the class but didn't get the right grade to move on to the prerequisite, definitely encourage them to follow up with their academic advisor, and they can confirm or deny if they need to keep repeating it or if they hit the limit for the repeat policy.
Okay, thank you guys. We have gone through all of our live Q&A questions. So I just want to thank everybody for being here. Thank you so much for the panelists for giving us your time and your brains and all of your experience tonight. You've been so helpful, and I'm so glad that we got to do this and give out this information. And thank you to all of our families that came tonight. So excited that you guys came out. Again, let us know any feedback. We'll look at the poll and see what you guys might want in the future. And yeah, continue to keep your eye out on the Mason Family Connection and sign up for futures of these. Oh no, we got one more question and then I promise we're done. Okay, have a sophomore who did not take the advantage of the accommodations during freshman year, but may need them no longer, or may need them in sophomore year. Is a medical diagnosis needed, or does one from a few years ago still stand?
It's hard to say without looking at exactly, the documentation and everything, but what I would suggest is the student does get connected with our office, reach out and say, I'm interested in registering, here's what I have, and we'll work with them through the process as appropriate. If necessary, we can absolutely always talk about how to get updated documentation and see what supports we can provide in the interim. Again, keeping in mind that not everything is strictly an accommodation fix, but maybe it's something we connect with campus resources to help address some of the barriers that are being experienced. So
thank you so much. I know that was the last second.
not a problem. Not a problem at all.
All right. Well, good night, everybody. I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening and continue to stay connected with family programs. We're so happy to continue to serve you all. Thank you again to our panelists, and have a good night.